Today, we will look at updating existing records in your Salesforce org using the MassEffect data loading module. Let's get started. From the Demand Tools Today page, you will find MassEffect under the Maintenance section of modules. This module is comprised of just one screen, but supports several different operations. Today, we will be looking at updating existing records in Salesforce. Remember, when using MassEffect, you will always be working with an external file of data. Let's take a look at our input file now before we start setting up our scenario. When updating records with MassEffect, you will typically be using the Salesforce.com ID to indicate the records that you want to update. However, you do have the option to set your own key. We will discuss that towards the end of this video. This file is comprised of a list of leads that need to be updated. I have a column for my lead IDs and then additional columns for the fields that I need to update. We will be mapping the column headers from this file to the appropriate fields in Salesforce from my MassEffect screen. Let's head back to Demand Tools to set up that mapping. From my MassEffect screen, first I will go to the Select File button to navigate to the folder on my PC where my input file is located. Remember, MassEffect supports many file types, including CSV, Excel, and Access. Once I select my file, if it is a CSV, it will load automatically. But for Excel files, I will need to select the proper worksheet and double-click to load. Once my file has loaded, I will be able to see how many rows it is reading from that file, as well as the column headers. Now, under the Operations menu, I need to make sure that my operation is set to update, which in this case is the default, so it's already been set. Now that my operation is set, I will expand the object in the center of the screen that I am updating and map the column header from my input file to the corresponding field in Salesforce. We'll scroll down to our lead object and expand. I'll map ID from my spreadsheet to ID in Salesforce, and then I can either manually map my fields, or if I right-click on the object name, I'll have an option to auto map. The blue flags to the left of my column header names indicate that that column header has been mapped to a field in Salesforce. When updating records, if you simply map the corresponding field in Salesforce, it will overwrite what is currently in that field with the data from your input file. If you only want to update that field in Salesforce if it is currently blank, then just right-click on the mapping and select Update from Input Data only if field is empty in Salesforce. If you are mapping to a mergeable field, such as a long area text or multi-select pick list, you will also have the option to merge input data with existing values in Salesforce. I can also add constant values to records on update. Let's say each of these leads need to have their lead sources blanked out. I don't have that data hard-coded into my input file, so I will just need to right-click on the lead source field, select Add Constant, and then choose the Empty Value option from my pick list. In addition to setting my null value there, I also have to indicate on my control panel that I want to process blanks. If I don't select process blanks here, Demand Tools will not overwrite populated data with blank data as a precaution. So we'll check this box and click Yes to make sure those null values are placed in Salesforce. Now that we have everything mapped, we are ready to process. I will go down to my Process button at the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. When I click Process, it will show me a pop-up alerting me that these records are about to be updated. Once I click OK, my job will execute. When this job completes, I will see a screen that lets me know if there were any errors, and I will also have a hyperlink to my restore file. My restore file gives me the IDs of the records that were updated and the values for the field that I updated before I processed. The update that we just performed was using the Salesforce.com ID. If I had a need to use another field as my key field, I can indicate that before I start my mapping. In this case, maybe I want to match on the email address field as opposed to my Salesforce.com ID. I would just find the field that I want to be my key, right-click, and choose Set as Key. Once I do this, I will see a pop-up alerting me of a few things. When you're using a non-ID field as your key, you're going to be using one API call per update. When using the Salesforce.com ID as your key, it will process in batches of 100, using one API call per batch. You also do not get a restore file when you select to use your own key. So you want to use this option sparingly, but it is good to know that it's available. Once I click OK, now I'll see a little key icon just to the left of my email field. Remember, with MassEffect, we can save our scenarios. So if this is an update you're going to be performing on a regular basis, just come down to the bottom of your screen and choose Save Scenario so that you can load this again the next time you're using a similar input file. Okay, that's it for our update. Thanks and have a great rest of your day.